Good evening, everyone. Geegado Megwan Kwe here for Chatting with Wisdom. So we are on another special edition of Chatting with Wisdom, where we are interviewing and having conversations with our beautiful speakers who are joining us for the 7th annual Women Inspiring Women Conference. I almost forgot what I was doing. And so it's just been a very busy, crazy day today. And so I'm here with Monica tonight, and we're going to chat about who she is and what's going on. And if you have not yet registered for the conference, you definitely want to jump on board. The early bird is closing this week, so you definitely want to be able to jump on this special cost of being able to join us for the weekend, and really looking forward to meeting with all of you. So welcome, Monica. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm excited to be part of the conference.
That is so awesome. So tell me, where are you from?
So I'm glad you asked where am I from. Well, so there's a difference between where you're from and where you live. So I currently live in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
I've moved here like a year and a half ago, but I'm from Chicago. But really, I have roots back to Europe. My parents immigrated to the U.S. From Poland and Serbia. So I'm kind of a mutt. Like, I've been all over the place. I've lived in different places. Now I'm in a quiet place in Tennessee, and I'm enjoying it so far. It's much warmer than Chicago. I'll tell you that.
Well, we are in northeastern Ontario, and it's pretty cold up here on a regular basis. But we've had this really weird winter that, like, we're not getting a whole lot of cold. Like, we are all really afraid of what's going to happen over the next spring months as we kind of gear up to that. So, because we've had a very mild winter, which is very not usual for where we live. So, so tell me a little bit more about who are you? So we know where you're from and where you are.
Yeah, so I'm an empowerment coach, and my passion is to work with women to help them get unstuck and to really get in alignment with their true authentic selves, with their unique gifts. For most of my life, I felt stuck. I was shy. I felt unworthy, and I've had to do a lot of inner work on myself to really, step into my gifts. I didn't know who I was for most of my life. And once I started uncovering like who I really am and what my gifts are, and I started doing work and doing things in alignment with that, a lot started to shift in my life. And so that's what I love to do. I love to work with women to really help them find that in themselves, and especially find the courage to really step into, I'm getting chills for some reason, but to really step into, their gifts. Because sometimes you could have your gifts, but you doubt them, and you're wondering, like, is this really what I'm supposed to do? But creating a support network and getting, having that structure and different things is what everyone needs different things for stepping into your gifts and your courage. And that's what I love to do. I just love to help hold that space and help women, follow their dreams.
And I love that. And so and I started to laugh when you were talking about the chills going up your spine, when you were talking about the courage, because again, if anybody has been following these conversations, this is the third time that we've talked about fear. And so you use the word courage versus fear. And, but it really is that underlying. So when you talked about courage, it was like, oh, here it is again. It's coming back again, full circle of the conversation. So you're the third person this week that we've actually talked about that courage of being able to just step in and getting out of your own way and just kind of being who it is that you need to be. And I'm sure that you, like all of us, have, because I know that I have doubts of okay, am I on the right path? Do I know what I'm doing? Is this what's going on? And I've been doing this for so the mental health and addictions I've been doing for 20 almost 20 plus years. I'm 20, so 23 plus years. But but being able to dive in more deeper of working with women with anxiety is that sometimes I'm like, okay, am I on the right track? Am I where I'm supposed to be? Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? And I've been doing this for 8 years. So, but we just have these underlying doubts of it's that next shift of where we need to go and what do we need to do. And when we start to become afraid, then that's where those doubts come into play, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that we're talking about this, because this came up so clearly for me in my own life. So I also am a singer and a songwriter, which was one of the gifts that I stepped into. Like, I never thought I was creative, and years ago, like, I mean, music was always in my life, but I could play someone else's music. But as far as like coming up with my own lyrics, my own melody, my own words, like, I literally thought it was impossible, because my background was engineering. I worked in the corporate world for a really long time. I had a business degree. So like, the left side of my brain was developed, and I never thought I could do the other side. So I've been working on developing and like stepping into my gifts as a singer and songwriter. And so this week I was working with my teacher, my mentor, and this beautiful song started flowing through, like a beautiful melody, a beautiful everything. And it came to writing the lyrics, and I was stuck on that part. And I went to my session with him, and he's like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm so uncomfortable and so nervous. Like, I don't know how to get past this part where I just feel stuck. Like, how do I feel really scared about like picking the lyrics." And so we talked about it, and I joked with him. I'm like, "Are these sessions like, is it music or is it therapy?" I'm not really sure. Probably both. Anyway, so he helped. We made an agreement that like, he doesn't write the music, like he holds the space and asks questions and brings it out of me, the same way I do for my clients. I believe we all can use coaching or therapy or different things in our lives. But anyway, so I had these ideas for the song, but I didn't commit to any of them. And as he was asking me questions, like, I committed to, and I made a decision for like one part of the song. Like, I had a piece of the melody, and I'm like, I don't know if it's right, but I'm going to commit to this one piece, right? These are what the words are going to be like for this melody. And so we hung up, and as soon as I committed to that piece, not knowing it was right, like a whole chunk of the song just downloaded in. And it was so beautiful. And it was like my own medicine, that like, I just loved singing it because it was healing to me. And it was what it was always meant to be. And it was like right there in front of me, but I couldn't exactly see it.
Yeah.
So I'm sharing this because like, one of the insights I had from this experience that maybe can help others watching or listening is that a key to getting unstuck is really to commit to a decision, even if it's wrong. I think we're sometimes so scared to make the wrong decision, but sometimes even making the wrong decision and stepping into that fully is what helps you make the right decision, because everything else starts to flow through. So that's just a little key from this week.
And I love that. And I love that whole analogy of like, even if it's the wrong decision. So like, we always come up to pathways, and we have a crossroad, and we need to decide, do we go left or do we go right? And this is just part of life. And we don't really have a choice of what it is. Like, we don't have a choice. We have to go. It's a crossroad. And so being able to make that decision sometimes isn't always the best decision. So, or not the best, it's the best decision in the moment. But like later on, we discover, oh, that wasn't the right path. I shouldn't have gone down that path. But if you actually look at the lessons that were in that path, it's not that it was wasted time, or it's not that it wasn't the right path. It was the right path at the time that you chose to take, that gave you other lessons that allowed you to be able to get to the other side, where you get to that other crossroads, where you're actually going to go back and veer back to that other choice that you said no to at that time, because now you've got the tools behind you to be able to take that other path. Right.
Yeah.
So,
exactly. And that's what happens with songwriting for me, or any creative process or any decision, because everything we do is a creation. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, like, now that more is coming in, and I may have the whole song at that point, you're like, okay, well, the original decision I made, like, it's going to be different now. But it was that first decision allowed everything else to flow in to like get you to the next place versus being stuck,
Absolutely. And that is exactly how life works. And so like with life coaching, and I agree, I have been, like I said, I've been in mental health and addictions for since 2001. And so I've worked in different pathways of all the different things. And I focus more on women with anxiety. And so, but like, none of those other pathways that I took were not where I needed to be. Those gave me the tools that I needed to be able to get to where I want to be, but also allowed me to be able to have the skill set that gives me an experience that is just beyond what it is that I can have. But I still have to have coaching. I still have to have therapy. I still have to have, and so it's that reminder that we're not, it's not a one and done. And so it might be a one and done in this particular moment. So we may be done with whatever section, but we have to continue to evolve. We have to continue to shift and change. And so over the years, I've worked with a number of different people because they provided me different things at the different times of my life as to where I needed to go and what I needed to do and how I needed to move forward. And that is so incredible. Like I have a coach that I connect with I try to connect with every Monday. She has a group program. And so, but her focus is specifically on business. And so she's the one that I get like I've really been able to hone in on my copywriting and that kind of thing. And so, that's her skill set. And so like, this is who I've been working with for the last 6 months because she really gives me what I need right now in this moment. Whereas my very first business coach that I worked with was, and I've done life and wellness as well, but in terms of like the business piece is that I went to, the very first one was where I actually got out of my own way. So while I was actually working with her I started my podcasting that I just made a post today about, that I've been doing this for 5 years now. Like it's been 5 years that I've been doing the chatting. Well, it was a different name, but it was doing chatting. Like I started chatting with wisdom. Like I started my interview processes and it was like, this is incredible. Like 5 years ago, I would have never, ever dreamt or imagined that this would be what it is that I would be doing on a regular basis. And so, but yeah, it's just like, where are we going and what are we doing? And that's one of the things that I like, about the women's conference and being able to do this annually is that we've got women from around the world that bring us their own skill set. So although that there's a lot of the same themes because we're focused on one particular theme of this conference, but everybody has this skill set and these tools that some of them are going to be similar, but it's the presentation and it's that resonance. So like there's going to be something that you say that's going to sound so much different. Like the last two people that we've had, the last two women that we talked to for the conference, they shared the word fear and getting out of your own way, whereas you come up with a different statement, which meant the same thing, but it was about the courage, right? So again, it's the perception, it's the understanding, and it's at that very moment when we actually get to be where we need to be. And this weekend is so enlightening. Like there is like, even as a facilitator and like as the host, like it is so enlightening that I come away every single year for the last 6 years away with this feeling of like, oh, like it really is like, it's just this, like, it just, and I'm not a singer, so you can probably hit that high note. But it's just being able to get to that level of like, oh my gosh, like this is just, I just had this overwhelming. So we start off with Friday, everybody's pumped on Friday, everybody's excited on Friday. And then come Saturday, people are coming and they're literally dragging their butts behind them because like we've hit some pretty heavy stuff on the Friday. And so Saturday, like they're still really excited because they're still motivated to be able to come in. And then as we shift through the day, we can actually see people's momentum coming in. And then on Sunday, they're like ready to fly again. And it's been the same pattern. But yet they still show up on Saturday. So even though they're dragging their behind on Saturday, it's just this transition of like, because it's like taking in so much information. So then Saturday, it's like they're still taking in and they're still consuming, but then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm energetically exhausted. But then on Sunday, it's like they're ready to fly. And they're like, so by the time that we're done on Sunday, nobody wants to leave. And it has been like that for the last 6 years. Like it has been absolutely remarkable. And in the last 4 years, we've been doing it virtually. Well, this is our 4th year doing it virtually. And so every year I have something new that I try to play around with to try and implement and make it better. And so last year was the workbooks. And so, and that was like a takeaway from another conference that I had gone to, virtual conference. So like we have like, this is for last year, and it has like, so the different speakers have the opportunity to put in worksheets that allow them to be able to have, so that you have something to jot in your notebook. And so, and it was very well received from the participants last year. So I'm like, okay, we're going to do this one again, with a little bit of, with a few other little things that are going to look different. And so, and it's just those small little tweaks that allow us to be able to like just improve it every single year. But it's just, it's incredible to be able to see the transformation of the women as they're coming through, because we have women who've attended. This is their 7th year. And as soon as registration went open, they were already registered, ready to go. And so like, it's just incredible to be able to see that transformation. So is there anything else, Monica, that you think is really important for us to share or that you wanted to talk about before we headed out?
So much to say. Well, one thing I wanted to touch on that you brought up is like your journey. So you said you went through many years of, you know, coaching and the different ways. And I imagine that the fear and the courage came up over and over again during
Absolutely.
that time period. And I know it does for me. And I just wanted to share something about this. Like, we often like think that, okay, once I pass this fear, like I'm done, you know? But from my experience, it never ends. And for people like us who love growth and who love expansion, there's this relationship that you need to build with fear and courage. And I know for myself, when it comes up, that's the point where I know like I'm growing and shifting and evolving. So I've almost kind of like learned to love and cultivate that feeling. It's like, oof, here's a wall. It's resistance I'm coming up against. And like now I need to work past it. So I just wanted to mention that because I think that we shouldn't fear fear. We should learn to make it our ally and and use it as a tool to help us expand and evolve.
I love that, because it is so important for us to be able to expand. Because again, when we look at, so for people who've been catching all of these little snippets, I've addressed this several times, or someone else has addressed it, is that when we shift or when we change or when we do these things, it's that expansion and we get to grow and we get to keep moving. Whereas we can stay exactly the way that we are, but who I am today at 53 is different than who I was at 23. And so like there's this whole gap of things that are so different in what it is that we want to do or where we want to go. And it is just so important for us to be able to embrace the change, because we can't stay that 23-year-old, right? So like we can't stay. And when I'm 70, I don't want to be stuck in being who I am at 53. And not that I'm not happy or satisfied with who I am, but as I move on, I want to be able to have, I want to be able to bring and shift and change and have that growth that continues on right up until, like, my goal is to live past 100. So, so that is my motivation to keep going. And so, and I can't stay stuck. Otherwise I'm never going to get there. Right. So yeah, so that's beautiful. So thanks so much for joining me tonight. And thanks everybody who is catching the replay. And we will talk soon. And again, if you have not yet registered, you do not want to miss this year. And so, not that I want you to miss any year, but you definitely don't want to miss this year. This is absolutely incredible. So talk soon, everybody, and bye for now.